All right, pronouns, or more specifically, singular pronouns. But since this is the first lesson in pronouns, a quick little review of what pronouns are. Pronouns, as you can read there on the page, are words that stand in for other types of nouns. So our usual he, she, it. These are words that we're fairly used to. We hear them a lot, and we often mess up with them. So quick review. We have a subject, we have a verb, and we have an object. In a basic sentence, we have a subject, verb, object. Now, just as we have different pronouns for different types of nouns, for instance, he for men, and she for women, and it for objects, and they and us, and so on, the other aspect of pronouns is a lot of times they change depending on whether they're acting as the subject of the sentence or they are acting as the object of the sentence. So let's start with an easy one first. It. All right? It is the same whether it is in the subject case or the object case. So it was good, okay, it being the subject, was being the verb, or what did you do with it? It's the same word, it, on both sides of the verb. So it is the easy one. We don't really have to worry about it until a few lessons from now, and you might miss some cookies coming up a little later on in a future lesson. But for it in its singular case is relatively simple. So let's get to some more difficult ones. I, he, she. In the subject, it's I, then the verb, and then me as the object. He, him, she, her, and so on. So for instance, I ate the cookies, I being the subject, ate the verb, cookies the object. She shared her cookies with me being in the object case. Now, a lot of times you'll hear people from different dialects switch these around. So they'd say something like, me went to the store, she was there with I, and so we have to be careful of this, especially if we've learned a different dialect of English. Okay, but again, standard business English, we put I in the subject case, me in the object case. He ate the cookies. Okay? She gave cookies to him. Again, people sometimes turn these around, different dialects. Him ate the cookies. She gave cookies to he. A lot of times you'll hear people say something like that. Same thing with she and her. The incorrect way to say something was Grandma gave the cookies to she, or her ate the cookies, right? Or her took the cookies. Sometimes you'll hear people say it that way. So we have to be careful. This is one of those areas where it depends on the dialect of English that you learned. In our case here, we want to stick with I, he, and she and the subject as the subject, and me, him, her as the object. So pretty straightforward, you might be saying to yourself right now. And so I wanted to say, did you get it? Do you think you got this down? Maybe you're not paying attention right now, and maybe you should have. Okay, so let's go here. Try this one. What would you put in the blank? Would you say Grandma gave cookies to Sally and I, or Grandma gave cookies to Sally and me? Are you ready for the answer? Grandma gave cookies to Sally and me. Now I know some of you are protesting right now and you're saying, that's not what I was taught in school, that's not what Grandma taught me. No, she did. We'll get to that here in a little bit. How you get around this is take out the Sally and. Grandma gave cookies to me. You would not say Grandma gave cookies to I. By removing the Sally, we see that it has me. So it has nothing to do with the person's name. It simply has to do with what part of the sentence it is. For instance, so what would you put here in the sentence, in the blank spot? A little more simple. Grandma and I gave cookies to Sally. Same thing, remove Grandma and you have I gave cookies to Sally. You might be thinking Grandma told you that you always use I after someone's name. No, it's only at the beginning of the sentence. When it's acting as the subject, we have I. When it's acting as the object, we have me. And it really doesn't matter if someone else's name is there. Yes, it is polite, and that's the lesson she was teaching you. It is polite to put the other person's name first before you say I or me, but has nothing to do with whether you say I or me. We always use the I in the subject. We always use me in the object. So maybe we tripped you up a little bit there, but guess what? We get to test your knowledge here shortly, and you'll be able to take a quick little quiz, if you will, and see if Grandma's going to give you some cookies. So on the link below, click on over there and let's test this out, test how much we remember.